I'm going to go ahead and call. Say again.
No, I was saying hi to Ms. Council Lady Willis.
We're ready to go live. Right. I'm going to call the town council meeting of. Hold on, let me pull it. I didn't print this off today. Sorry. All right, I'm going to call the town council meeting of Tuesday, October 6, 2020 to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Brewer. Councilman Fields.
Here.
Councilwoman Miles.
Present.
Councilwoman Neville.
Present.
Councilwoman Willis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Here.
And Mayor Wood.
Present. We have a quorum. Next on the agenda is a moment of silent prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Eric, can I say something about Cliff? He called me about 5 minutes ago and he told me that he's having to go to a property that he has sprinklers in and he won't be coming this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll have a moment of silent prayer. Amen. All right, we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please be seated. Oh,
I always had a flag.
I was looking at the wrong flag. Sorry. All right, next on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. And I know is there town manager, do you have anything you want to add or take away from the agenda?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, council.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. I'm going, yeah, I made some motions quick. So before you make that motion, I'm going to remove the closed session item. Before I take that motion, because we have to take off the performance evaluation discussion.
We have to vote on that?
Yes. Yeah, so we'll vote on it. All right.
So is there a separate motion to have that item removed?
Yes.
So moved from me.
All right, so I accept that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and second by Council Lady Willis. So the motion on the floor is to remove closed session discussion of performance of a specific employee pursuant to our Virginia Code 2.2-3711 Alpha 1. All right, I'm gonna call for the question. All right, Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilwoman Neville.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Willis.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor. Okay, that's it. Okay, we heard you, and that's a yes. That motion carries. What's the count on that, Lisa? I'm sorry. 1, 2, 6-0.
6-0.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I take a motion to, I guess, accept the agenda with the removal of the closed session.
So moved again.
Second.
All right, it's been moved. It's been second. All right, Councilwoman Willis.
Yes.
Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Neville.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor.
Yes.
And that's a yes for me. All right, motion carries 6-0. All right, next on the agenda is our approval of the minutes from the September 15th minute. Did everybody have a chance to look over the September 15th minutes? Okay. Any Councilwoman Willis?
Mistake. There's a mistake on page 1.
Okay.
Number 7, item D. Willis did not vote no. The way it's written, I know there's,
No, it says vote 7-0.
I know, but the
No.
colon, a semicolon after my name is what's confusing. Can we take that out?
Okay. No problem. All right. Any other changes there? All right. Seeing none, I welcome a motion to approve the minutes with the semicolon removed.
Move.
Okay. It's been moved. Okay. Second by Councilwoman Miles. All right. Calling for the question. Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman Neville,
Yeah.
Councilwoman Miles,
Aye.
Councilwoman Willis.
No.
Okay, and Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes. Sorry.
And that's a yes for me. I think that motion carries 5-1.
That's correct.
Okay. Next is the on the agenda is citizen comment period. Are there any citizens here to make a comment? Okay, I see a hand up, Mr. Robert Hand. Okay.
Hello, good evening. Mic check.
Yes, you're on. I didn't have my clock ready, but go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. I hope the National Night Out went well. Thank you. I am the Williamstown Homeowners Association Vice President, so I'm speaking for my constituents with this concern. First off, thank you for coming through on the National Night Out. I think it was too short, just a quick blip, but we do appreciate the effort to build more rapport with the community. At our recent meeting, one of the major resident complaints we had was that a number of vehicles parked along Old Triangle Road obstruct views, and a larger number of loud and speeding cars have been coming through and around the neighborhood. I would appreciate if the council and the police department can look into options that would improve public safety, as well as reducing the noise annoyances, to include bubble mirrors and more enforcement of parking regulations where they are able. I understand there are a lot of concerns and steps for procedures to actually prosecute the louder vehicles, but I'd appreciate if we could look into some kind of collaboration, look into the steps to try to reduce the nuisances and make a safer community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hand, for your comments. Is there any other citizens here looking to make a comment tonight to the council? Okay, seeing no additional hands up, I'm gonna close that portion of the meeting. Next, we have mayor and council comments. All right, Councilwoman Willis, did you have any comments to make tonight?
Not this evening, no.
Okay. Councilwoman Neville.
No.
Okay. Councilwoman Miles.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And good evening, citizens. I would like to thank Mr. Hand for his comments. And I also would like to thank him for his hard work in the community and his work on the HOA in Williamstown. I see a lot of his efforts, so I do appreciate the work that he does in the community. I would like to remind everyone that we celebrate a lot of things in the month of October. October is Indigenous Peoples Month, but October is also Disability History Awareness Month. So shameless plug, you can follow my Facebook page. I will be promoting little history nuggets about the disability history movement throughout my page. And also back in July, I had the honor of working with the Virginia Board for People with Disabilities, which I did a week-long celebration of the ADA, just to follow along what the disability rights movement was about. And it's important to become familiar with different rights movements that go on in different communities, because what you'll find is that these movements intersect when we talk about civil rights and rights to different communities. So it's important to become familiar with those as well. So just want to promote that, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the month. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Fields.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Everyone on the panel here, and our attendees that are listening. Of course, you know we have a month left before we vote, and I too am up for re-election this year for the town of Dumfries in the council seat for another 4 years. Um, Please look at my Facebook page. I've been doing some posting and follow along. And remember to get out there and early vote if you can. If not, we'll see you on election day. I too want to add comments to Mr. Hand about his comments about what's going on in the Williamstown area. I'm quite sure that we'll get with our public safety and we can address some of those issues. Also, we have coming up at the end of the month, we're still going to do the trunk or treat, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm probably gonna do on my own, but yeah, I do a trunk or treat. I talk about, yes.
Okay.
We'll do a trunk.
Okay.
It won't
But-
be a town sponsored type event.
Okay, it won't, but something will go on. But the whole thing about it is to be safe. Remember to still mask up. You know, echoing what we did earlier this summer, sponsored by Mr. Ville, Mask Up Dumfries. We have to mask up everywhere we go. I had an encounter with a gentleman today about not masking up at one of our local establishments, and you know, I asked the gentleman to put on his mask, and sort of was reluctant to do so from the store management, but I stood firm and said we have to mask up, keep everyone safe. So let's continue to do that in our communities. Stay tuned with your kids in school, internet connections. I know they're spotty, but the schools are offering a code to go along with Comcast. If you can get that from your school. You know, I helped sponsor my nephew, and the principal gave me a call today about getting better internet connections. So if you have any problems with that, reach out to your schools, email your schools. They're answering the questions in the call for better internet service. So continue to keep your kids safe and monitor during this time that we have still in COVID before we can go back to school. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Thank you. So I just wanted to have a couple of reminders. The last day to participate in being counted for the census is October 31st. So please participate, be counted, and understand that your count goes toward the funding for us as a local community to ensure that we get the proper funding that we need locally. Also want to remind you all about voting. As we know, it is an imperative election. It is a presidential election year, which is as important as our local elections. So just want to drop a few dates for you. So early voting in person is available until October 31st. You can vote in Prince William County as a resident at any of the 3 locations, which include Haymarket Community Library, the Office of Elections in Manassas, and our DMV Woodbridge office in Woodbridge. And again, you can vote at any of those locations as a Prince William County resident. The last day to register to vote is October 13th. And I wanted to share that I voted in person and that there are steps that you can take to ensure your safety when voting in person. Just a quick few tips is to keep your distance, wear a mask, and take your own black pen, and you should be fine. And hand sanitize, of course. All right, thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor, for your comments. Just want to say thank all the citizens that came out and greeted the officers as they drove through the neighborhoods and your council members who came through. I think that type of energy shows good community policing. For those who didn't witness it, you had the kids actually, you know, you go some places, kids are running from police officers, but the kids actually heard the sirens and they ran towards the car. And I think that's definitely a move in the right situation, in the right direction for what we're doing. And there's a lot of excitement. So I did share a video because it brought my heart joy to see the kids get real excited when the police came up. Yeah, National Night Out, as Bob said earlier, was a lot different than normal because it was just pretty much a drive-through. We were able to give out masks and sanitizer to the kids, and we were able to give out some other little cool trinkets and toys to them. And it's not the normal get-togethers. But I think it felt good for them to see the police caravan into the town and get to see some of our officers' face and some of the members of council. So thank you, Mr. Hand, for even trying to allow your dog to take a picture with the officers. For those of you who don't know, Dumfries in the state of Virginia, we were one of the first, if not the only, I don't know who else, to get rid of Columbus Day as a holiday for our staff. And they still get Monday off. And as Councilwoman Miles said, we're gonna celebrate Indigenous People Day. Because the only Christopher, I think Councilwoman Miles say we acknowledge is Wallace. So that's cool in our book. As Councilman Fields alluded to, on October 31st, I was gonna host, and I didn't even put it out there yet, but I'm gonna host a trunk or treat for people to give the kids something to do over at the barbecue spot in town, where they can just pull their trunks up, open up the trunks, and I'm asking people bring tables, because CDC is recommending that you put the candy on tables for the kids to pick it up off the tables, and I'll come up with some type of cool prize to actually give away to whoever decorates their trunk the coolest with Halloween paraphernalia and everything, and just give the kids a safe way to trick or treat and to pick up candy and stuff without having to go door to door in the area of COVID. And so trunk or treating, we may have some games and possibly some video and music or something. So we don't know yet. So those details are still forthcoming. And then lastly, I just want to acknowledge that in addition to Health Awareness Month, one of the biggest things that a lot of people know October for is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so just want to acknowledge all of those and make sure people are getting checked. You're hearing people dying from cancer, people who think somebody I heard on the radio yesterday realized they didn't want to take I'm sorry, ladies, I don't know what it's called, but the thing where they get the exam and they found the lump and didn't realize later on that they were in stage 3 of breast cancer. So definitely make sure, ladies, you're getting checked. You're getting the mammograms. Is that right? Just nod if I said that right. So yes. Anyway, I'm going to get out of there. That's my comments tonight because I don't know what the proper term. But ladies, just make sure you're getting checked. Don't be afraid of the doctors and the science and those things like that. All right. That's all I got for you all today. All right, next on the agenda is, our introductory item, ordinance to authorize the town manager to execute a lease agreement for the town-owned real property at 17739 Main Street and schedule a public hearing for October 20th, 2020. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. So before council this evening is a introductory item. This is for a lease for town-owned property. It is an amendment for a current tenant. And so I am requesting a motion to schedule the public hearing date for this item for October the 20th.
Okay. Council, any questions about the requested motion for the town manager? Okay, seeing none, I welcome a motion from Councilwoman Willis. Let's see you. The floor is yours. You're on mute though, unmute.
In the amendment, why is the rent deferred? For what purpose does that serve?
The rent deferment is to allow the tenant to maintain their current lease while experiencing hardship. So it is not a reduction in rent. It is not a change in the rent. It is simply a deferment. And this was worked on with our contracted vendor that handles our property management. And so this, just to be clear, is not a forgiveness of rent or a foregoing of rent. It is a deferment. So the money remains within the lease term.
Can you explain what you mean by hardship?
The inability to pay.
So they have a lease and they don't have the ability to pay up until when?
This is a request. So they have not defaulted on the lease.
No, I didn't say that.
Right. So this was a request based on the inability to pay. So what was negotiated is a deferment of a portion of the rent.
So they're deferring $773.33 from October 2020 to September 2021. So that's a year, correct? Is that what the deferment is for?
Yes, that's the deferred amount. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they're not able to pay their rent during that time period, basically is what that means.
They will be paying a portion, with a portion being deferred.
Okay. Now let me ask you another question. What if they go out of business?
That is included in the lease, and the funds are still due. And so it would be handled no differently than any other tenant that has a lease.
Let me ask you, what is this? It doesn't even say who the tenant is.
The amendment is before you, and it says it at the top.
The very first.
Okay, Future Kings. All right, let me ask you this. Who was there any build out done for Future Kings?
No, ma'am.
Is there any build out being done or has been done for any of our tenants in the building that our town hall is located?
But that's a point of order, Councilwoman Williams. We're talking about just the.
I understand that. I'm just asking a question, and he should know because he's on top of things.
We're just trying to keep the questions to the agenda topic and the item that we're discussing right now, which is.
Okay, all righty. Okay, that's okay. I'll take this up later. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other
I
questions?
have a question about that as well. So is that same grace given to any tenant who, for whatever reason, has a hard time making payments on space? How do we determine who gets a deferment for a year and who does not?
Yes, ma'am. This is, I would not constitute this as grace. This is not a forgiveness or an allowable of late payment or not meeting terms. This is a request that is before the council based on situations related to the escalation that occurs based off their being a tenant for 1 year. They were scheduled to have a escalation in their rent due to COVID, and which is the specific hardship. They requested that this deferment be put in place. So it is before council to approve whether this would go into place or not. So I wouldn't say that this is grace. They're not, the terms of the existing agreement are still before us and are still active. This is a request, and it is, we're seeking council's pleasure on the 20th about whether to defer. And I just mentioned that it's a deferment because there is no forgiveness of any financial compensation.
It doesn't say that.
It simply defers it to a later date within the existing lease.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. I read that. I was just surprised to see it because, you know, when we do this, and I understand what we're doing right now is this introductory item, but we may get some more of these.
So yes, ma'am, that is a great point. We have had, our property management company has had conversations with all of our tenants and had these conversations in light of COVID. And so everyone's situation is unique. So, you know, just to kind of focus on the situation that is before us tonight, this was the option that was proposed to allow us to continue forward in a successful fashion. And just also, if to answer or address any other concerns for others, these type of amendments have to require council approval before they can be enacted. So this would not excuse anyone from defaulting on their rent or anything like that. So it is, we are seeking council's pleasure, but unless council approves of this, the existing lease is still intact.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. And I just have one other, I guess it's actually a comment I'll make on this agenda item is that I'm all for playing Robin Hood when we can, you know, but this is kind of like the housing issue we addressed before. Someone has to pay. So, we are not, as the town, getting a deferment on a mortgage note, a payment for the property. So just something to continue or something to think about as this is moved to the work session. So if there's a deferment, we are still paying. That's all. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other comments on the move to, because this item, I think, Mr. Rogers, you're asking to move this to the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for a public hearing at the next meeting.
Eric, I've got one more question. These are tenants in the building. When we were talking last meeting, we were talking about the MOU and everything with the county. Are they able to put forth an application for CARES money to bridge the gap for rent?
If they meet the criteria.
Okay.
So wait, that leads me to one more question. So, and I know that's not written up in the package you are working on with the county right now, as far as the package we are about to have as far as CARES funding. But, and I'll probably propose this somehow during the work session when this comes up, but should they get funding, they may be able to offset the deferment that they're asking for anyway. Just throw that, I'm sure they had other expenses as well, but that did come to my mind as Councilwoman Willis made that statement.
Okay. Councilman Phillips, did you have anything? Councilwoman Miles? Vice Mayor? Okay, Vice Mayor.
I just want to get some clarification on two things. What we are voting on tonight is whether or not this will go to public hearing on the 20th, right?
Yes.
That's it. So as far as in looking at the way it's written up, just a point of clarification, it has folks listed as absent. And I don't know, are we predicting that they will be absent on the 20th, or do we know that they will not be here on the 20th? Just, I saw that and it just kind of jumped out to me.
Well, I'm sorry, where are you at on the agenda with after? You're talking about the end when we...
It says at the meeting of the Dumfries Town Council, this is page 4, held on October 20, 2020,
Yeah,
on a motion, and then it has the council listed, and it has Councilwoman Miles and Councilwoman Willis listed as absent. Am I confused, or is that
just simply a typo, Mayor?
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry, because I was a little confused. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's not on my copy. Okay. All right. Any other questions about moving this lease to a public hearing? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to welcome a motion from the floor.
I'll move.
Okay, Councilwoman Miles. And who the second come from? Okay, Vice Mayor. All right, so there's a motion to for ordinance to authorize the town manager to execute a lease agreement for town-owned real property at 17739 Main Street. Public hearing date is set for 10/20/20. A motion made by Councilwoman Miles has been seconded by the Vice Mayor. We've exhausted the discussion, so I'm going to call for the question. Councilwoman DeVille. Okay, Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilwoman Willis.
Just to move it, yes.
Councilwoman Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor. Okay, and that's a yes for me. All right, motion carries 6-0, Lisa. All right, next on our agenda is our discussion item for the night, and that's a 2020 events update from our town manager. I think we only had 3 or 4 events for the year, if I'm correct. Christmas parade, fall festival, shop with a cop. Mr. Rogers, the floor is yours. You tell me.
Thank you, Mayor. So I wanted to have a discussion this evening with the council in light of COVID and our remaining events for the year. Due to the governor's orders and the local emergency, the fall festival has become unfeasible. So that is one event that was typically held in October. And then the major event that would be remaining would be our Christmas parade. So in working with staff, we have discussed a potential alternative to do a more of a service activity around Thanksgiving to help families and others that may have had impacts related to COVID. And we can create an event around that holiday. And I wanted to touch base with the council in regards to and see what council's thoughts were on proceeding with the Christmas parade in light of various localities canceling their parade or modifying their parade. So I wanted to just pose those items to the council for a discussion to get a decision mainly on how to proceed. The Shop with a Cop activity is still planned to go on as scheduled. So the main decision point is really about the Christmas parade itself.
So the fall festival is canceled.
We would like to cancel that, and mainly because it's not, based on the type of activity. We just don't find it as practical or feasible in light of the regulations, and so we are looking, like I said, to kind of replace that with something that we could do around Thanksgiving time. That's more of a kind of community support, give back around that holiday time. And we're looking for guidance about continuing to have the Christmas parade. Just to add, the parade itself could probably be executed safely within the governor's orders, but there's the issue of the crowd. So I just wanted to touch base with the council. Did not want to be Scrooge this holiday season, and I know that the Christmas parade is very important to the town. So I just felt like it was appropriate to kind of bring this to council to have that discussion. Like you mentioned earlier, Mayor, Shop with a Cop is still scheduled to proceed, so we will have that. The typical lighting of the tree and decorations, we're still planning to proceed with those activities. So mainly, again, just wanted to get a consensus from the council on Christmas parade, proceed or not.
So and I know that Manassas has canceled theirs, and they usually have one of the largest ones around with about 100 marching bands. But what they did do, I think in the Inside Nova, it was written that they were having they were still going to have Santa Claus come for the kids, and the kids to be able to come out and take pictures with Santa and that, and they were still doing their Christmas tree lighting. And I think they were doing those over a 2-day period in Manassas. So what I'm gonna do is I go around and just get commentary give everybody an opportunity to speak on it, and then we'll come to a conclusion. So I saw Councilwoman Miles' hand go up first, so we'll start with you, Council Lady Miles.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think we pretty much, if we're going to err on the side of safety, we have to, we do have to cancel the parade. It does break my heart because I know it's a long-term tradition, but even if we could, control, the performances, we can't control crowd size. I don't see how we ensure social distancing with the parade. But I do like the idea of doing pictures with Santa Claus, continuing with the Christmas tree lighting. We could even maybe do breakfast with Santa Claus for the kids like we did last year, like we right before Shop with a Cop. But I think the parade we got to cancel. So.
All right, Councilman Fields, I'll get you. Postpone or continue?
I would say postpone because it's not looking good now going forward with Corona and everything like that. Nah, I'll say postpone.
Okay. Councilwoman Willis?
Postpone it. And I think that even looking at, it's kind of hard because kids, Christmas is a thing for a lot of people, especially small kids, even older kids. My mother was an older kid. But with COVID-19, you just don't know who could be asymptomatic. Could be Santa Claus. And unfortunately, that's just the climate of what's going on now. And I don't know whether Manassas has canceled, any of their extracurricular activities besides the parade, but we're still, doing our meetings via Zoom. So maybe we can figure out something with Santa Claus via Zoom. Don't know. Hey, it can hurt because like we were all saying, it's the new normal. That's my thoughts.
Thank you for your comments. Councilwoman Neville, you want to postpone or carry on, or what are your thoughts on the Christmas parade?
Yeah, so in the spirit of safety, we are in the midst of a pandemic and everyone has had to pivot and shift to survive now. So I do think we do technically need to cancel the parade, but what comes to my mind is reimagining the parade. So because we do have lists of groups, I do think it would be worthwhile to explore the opportunity in putting on a virtual parade. And when I say virtual parade, that would be reaching out to those groups that would typically participate to see if they would like to submit a photo to be put together into a video montage of a parade that could run in a loop on our town channel. I think something like that could be explored with maybe a video from dear old Saint Nick with his, what do we call him, asymptomatic now. So I do think we could reach out and put together some type of video with the pictures. It can be, you can have a Google form and people can complete a form and upload a picture, and you can take the pictures and make a video montage from those who participated and reimagine the town parade. Of course, that would come up with, we still have to have a theme and all, but wouldn't be total cancellation. It would be a pandemic parade. So that's what I would throw out and have a video from old Saint Nick. So I definitely agree with canceling the fall festival. I'd like to cancel another little event I see popping up around the corner, but I'll leave that off. But because that's not a town sponsored event in the parking lot of the shopping center. But I think when we talk about doing something around Thanksgiving, I need more details for that. People do different things Thanksgiving. Some people are in town, some are not. So exactly what are we, do we have any idea of what we're talking about? Are we still formulating the idea? Do we have an idea of a time in relation to Thanksgiving that would happen? Or is that even realistic? Maybe the efforts need to go into the virtual parade, is compiling pictures and making a video out of that. Mr. Rogers, do you have any more insight on that Thanksgiving event?
Thank you. So I wanted to
Hold on, I'm gonna get the vice mayor's comment, and then I'll come back to you, Mr. Rogers. I just want to get vice mayor.
Okay, because I may not be done depending on what he says.
All right, well, I can come back to you if you didn't have anything else on the parade.
Are you talking to me now, or are you talking to?
Okay, vice mayor, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what I was going to say is I vote to cancel the parade. However, I feel I'm confused again because we're talking about canceling a parade because we cannot control the amount of crowds that would gather for it. I have participated in Shop with the Cop for the past 2 years. And what I see as a problem with that is we're concerned for safety of folks gathering on the side of the streets in open air. And typically folks gathered in their own little circles and then they're outside. So if folks kept their distance, then essentially you could have families 6 feet apart. There's absolute room for that. But when I think about Shop with a Cop and us gathering in the community center, there is not enough room to be 6 feet apart. It has been a crowd every year that I've participated in it. Then we turn around and take these children in vehicles where you no longer have 6 feet of space, and you take them to Walmart where you no longer have 6 feet of space. I actually think the shop with the cop is riskier than the street parade. And for that matter, I vote to cancel them both. I like Councilwoman Neville's idea about the virtual parade. I think that is ingenious and it's something that could be explored. And as far as the shop with the cop, if what we're doing is typically giving, $100 budget to the children, I think that we can reimagine that as well, if I can take your term and turn that into still go through the same application process and maybe then have council members and or police deliver the $100 gift cards. But I think that the shop with the cop itself is a greater risk than even the parade. That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Let's see, where do I start? First, forgive me for not explaining that shot with a cop will not look like it has looked in years past. What I was intending to say was that we are still making plans for that. So I think, Vice Mayor, everything that you said in terms of an alternate plan for that those are the types of things that we are indeed discussing. In terms of virtual parade, we are happy to look into putting that together. The comment about the Thanksgiving event, that was something that we just still in discussion. No details have been solidified. I wanted to have this discussion and get feedback from the council before we kind of made alternate plans.
And the Thanksgiving is alternative to the fall festival. Is that correct?
Something to kind of supplement a atypical year, so to speak. So if the council didn't want to proceed with the parade and not being able to do the fall festival, so yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. All right. I'll come back around to everybody again. Councilwoman Miles, did you have anything to add with the new information? No. Okay. Councilman Fields.
Yeah, back to shop with the cop. There were years without a COVID that, and I really didn't like it, but we can go back to it this year, possibly, is for the families to send in a wish list and the officers do the shopping and we put them in bags or cases or whatnot and deliver them to the houses. That was done a few years back. We didn't go to the Walmart. So we still can do the shop with the cop because there are still going to be families in need, as every year there is, that's going to need this. And we'll just do it in reverse. The officers will go and pick up the items from a wish list and then deliver them on a certain day. We could ride along with them if we want, or just, the officer go to specific houses and they're notified a parent that, hey, we're coming. And maybe St. Nick can ride in one of the patrol cars along with the officers and deliver to the house at the time. So I think that would be the best alternative. We've done it before in the past. It worked then. It's just not the favorite, but we have to do it at this moment.
Yeah, I like that better than actually giving them money, because sometimes the kids who don't have transportation don't get to spend that money. So
yeah, they're sending a wish list, they're sending the application along with the wish list of items that they want. You verify with the parents and make sure it's okay for them to receive that. The officers go out and get it and they deliver it with St. Nick.
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Willis.
I think doing what Brian's talking about sounds like a good idea. Our church does the same thing. They get the wish list from the children, and church members take the child and they buy for the child and they wrap it up and it's delivered. So, I mean, that's a great alternative to shop with a cop. And the Christmas parade, I think Sydney's idea about the virtual Christmas parade, I like that. That's good. Keeps everyone safe, both instances with the shop with a cop and the Christmas parade.
Absolutely. Councilwoman DeVille.
Technical difficulties. Thank you.
So yeah, I like Councilman Fields' idea as well with the shop with the cop. So I feel like with that Thanksgiving activity, I feel like that's the time in there. I understand there's the fall festival and, you know, swap one event, have another, but we don't want to overwhelm ourselves, or, you know, we got to be careful with the planning as well. So I would suggest the effort and especially the funding that the town would put into a fall festival. I think that should go into hiring a videographer, someone to put this virtual parade video together really nicely. That's what I'd like to see, because I haven't heard of anyone. I've heard of the cancellations, but I haven't heard of anyone saying a virtual parade. So, you know, let's show them all how to do it and make it really, really nice.
Yeah, definitely. I like the virtual parade. I was just thinking in my head, if we could get some of the bands to participate, it would be kind of like awesome to play. We get Forest Park and Freedom and Potomac, you know, all our local bands, because, you know, the parades are and the bands are, you know, I still remember probably one of the best parade experience, probably Councilwoman DeVille, you probably planned it, and the parade ended at the end of the Dumfries Shopping Center, and the Freedom Band just threw down and had a party. I mean, that's like the ultimate parade experience, to have those bands marching through. And so I know that's what we're looking for. And so we can get that band type of feel. You know, I almost want to say that HBCU vibe, but that's in the parade type of feel. And then I would also agree with Councilwoman Willis. I thought about how we do it at church. Everybody, once the kids fill out their application with their wish list, it's passed around and people come and actually pick up, and you got actually people that go buy for kids, and people then determine, you know, and then we can even get more businesses who want to participate in it there. And so the way we do it in my church is we pick up one or two kids, and then it tells us their clothing size. It tells us if they want a bike or whatever, and then people kind of choose how much stuff they want to have for that kid. And we always think, man, this could be the only gifts this kid is getting. And I had to fight with my wife every year about if we're going to buy a bike for another kid, but you know, so that's kind of like the things we do. But I think that's a cool way to go out and to do that shopping. I just want to see if the vice mayor has any comments before I come back to you, Councilman. I want to give everybody a chance to go around. Vice Mayor, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I appreciate the clarification on the shop with the cop, and I like all the ideas that we have here. It shows that we are not allowing the pandemic to stop our efforts of engagement with the community, and it's very important that we figure out ways to continue to give the community what they look for from us, and that includes these holidays, because unfortunately there are so many children who only have the shop with the cop event to look forward to some gifts. I mean, I've been out there and it's heartbreaking and touching all at the same time. So I think that we're definitely heading in the right direction with this thought process. So I would love to see it all materialize.
Okay. All right. I saw the third round and final round here. Councilwoman Willis. You're on mute. I gotta put my
one of the chats, people in the chat box said it would be nice to share the wish list with the community to see if the people would like to sponsor a family or children anonymously. This would allow more families in need. Many people are looking for opportunities to help but don't know how. This is just a thought. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, I believe living in Dumfries, I think we're blessed. Some people may not think that we are, because they always have negative things to say about the town of Dumfries. But I've lived here for 52 years and I feel very blessed. And I grew up in Prince William County, went to public schools here. And I just, giving back is a wonderful opportunity here, especially at Christmas time. But I think this is, you know, everybody comes together at Christmas, and I think our community, and I think, like we said last meeting, I think the small little town of Dumfries, the oldest town in Virginia, needs to show the other towns in the state of Virginia how to do it. And I think we need to show everybody how much we care about each other in the town of Dumfries.
All right, well said. Councilwoman DeVille, did you have a final remarks on this?
Yes, just to your point when you were talking about the band element, and I think the secret to doing this right is just putting it out there, having them send it back, right? But I think when you were speaking about the bands, what came to my mind is Zooming church service and seeing some of my friends from the illustrious VSU concert choir. There's an app for that, and there's an app where they will come and they will harmonize different parts. So that is something that some of these groups, to include bands, they can get creative with that. They can have a little jazz ensemble, use that type of app and have something that would come to the coordinator, having them, if they want, giving them the option to submit a video instead of just a picture. So that can be done. That's all. I mean, I'm just thinking, as far as what's going on at the schools, band practice might be a bit of an issue right now. But if they decided, that would be on them to use that app to harmonize and put the different parts together and submit that as a video submission, that could actually work. And one beautiful thing about, there's always sunshine in the rain. There's always sunshine in the midst of a storm. So some of the sunshine in the midst of COVID-19 is that we can access people and groups that may not have been able to participate in our parades in the past, like our illustrious Divine Nine organizations all around, our wonderful HBCUs. We have 5 of them in Virginia. They all have bands. If the word gets out soon enough, they actually may be able to participate this year because it's virtual. Everything.
Every year try to get VSU.
My line brother, well, I know someone who works with the band, with the drum line. So that can actually happen. So my thoughts just came from when you were speaking, Mayor, about that band piece. And that band piece is important to a parade. So there are ways to do that. There is an app for that. And I'm going back on mute.
Will absolutely warm my heart if y'all pulled those bands together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry, Councilman Fields.
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing Melva did, was read that comment. But along with that, we get our donations. With the Buffalo Soldiers, they are our number one sponsor for that every year. They come out in numbers and bust their butts, to get here. It's cold and some of them ride the motorcycles here. But with that comment that the citizen made over there, we got a community center. We could turn this community center into a collection podge of toys. People just drop the toys off at the community center. We have one of our staffs or intern or whatever, man that post, or one man that post at the community center to receive toys. Just bring in toys, just bring in toys, just bring in toys. We start putting the word out now, or in the next couple of weeks, we put that word out. I bet you that community center will be half full of toys that we can just give out to the community, and probably can be one of the best Christmas in Dumfries we've had in a while. Yep, I know I can get my the Buffalo Soldiers on board, and as we're delivering, they could be escorting along with the motorcycles if it's not too cold or inclement weather, but people will come out anyway. It'll be great. So we got shot with the cop. I think we got that pretty well handled. We just got to coordinate it. As a matter of fact, Officer Torres asked me this afternoon when we were doing the National Night Out, hey, I was going to call you next week and so we can coordinate this. So I'm on board. I always work well with her and the Buffalo Soldiers, and we'll all put it together and we'll have a wonderful Christmas in Dumfries / Out with a Cop, Mr. Rogers.
All right, Mr. Rogers, looks like the consensus is let's put all of our efforts towards a virtual parade video that'll be one of a kind in this area. And then the 2 looks like to solicit feedback from those participants in the past and those in the community in need to find out all of the needs, and then allow the community an opportunity to go out, do the shopping as well as everybody, in addition to the cops, and bring it back to the community center, and then we make the deliveries that way. Looks like
Right.
So virtual parade and the cops still shopping and making the deliveries, but it'd be a total community collaborative effort. So it's just those 2 events that we're looking at for the rest of the year. Is that right, Council? Looking for a head nod. Yep. So 2 events. virtual parade, and we making Christmas happen. Oh, wait, Christmas
Mayor,
light? Yes.
a social distance Christmas dinner at your house?
Hey, I'm not gonna be here for Christmas this year.
Between Halloween and Christmas, Councilman Fields is just inviting himself over, man.
No, everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to just be somewhere else. So I guess there's two other things. So how tell us a little bit about Mr. Rogers, the Christmas tree lighting, and I don't know if we talked about any photos with Santa or whatever, but how do you see the Christmas tree lighting working?
What I can do with the guidance that you all have provided me this evening, I can put together kind of a itinerary and a description, and I can send that out to where we can incorporate the tree lighting and photo opportunities as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think we'll set the tone for this this area. Councilman Fields, you have exhausted your speaking time on this topic. Thank you, sir. All right.
Get a big tree.
Yeah. All right, we got that. All right. If there's nothing else for the good of the community or the good of the council, we will now it's perfect, 8 o'clock, time for a stretch break, but we will adjourn this meeting. So thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night, everyone.
Good night.